The rain was relentless that night, beating against the mansion's glass walls like the world itself was angry. Inside, little Ethan sat quietly on the grand staircase, clutching a worn-out teddy bear, watching his father, Alexander King, pace across the marble floor in a tailored black suit. The billionaire CEO of King Enterprises, powerful, stoic, and unshaken by anything, looked broken. The photo of his late wife, Emily, rested on the piano nearby, her smile still alive in the memories that refused to fade. It had been 3 years since the car accident that took her away, leaving Alexander with nothing but wealth, a hollow heart, and a son who stopped smiling. Ethan hadn't spoken much since. He drew pictures of his mother instead, simple sketches of a woman with kind eyes holding his hand. That night, Alexander made a decision. "Ethan," he said softly, crouching beside his son, "you need someone who can take care of you. I'm always working, and you need a mother's love again." Ethan looked up, eyes wide, silent. "I'm going to invite some people," Alexander continued, forcing a smile. 5 women. All kind, elegant, smart. You'll meet them and maybe you can help me choose who should be your new mom. Ethan's lips trembled. "But what if I don't want a new mom?" Alexander's heart cracked a little. "Then we won't choose anyone, okay? But I just want you to try." And so began the strangest event the city's elite had ever whispered about, the billionaire CEO's secret selection. One by one, the women arrived over the next week, each of them stunning, confident, and wealthy in her own right. They weren't just there for love, everyone knew marrying Alexander King meant power, influence, and luxury. First came Vanessa, an elegant art collector with diamonds that sparkled brighter than her smile. She brought expensive toys for Ethan, calling him sweetheart as if they'd known each other for years. Ethan played along politely, but when she wasn't looking, he pushed the toys aside. Next came Isabel, a tech entrepreneur with perfect posture and eyes that sized up the mansion like a business deal. She spoke more to Alexander than Ethan, talking about partnership potential. Then there was Caroline, a fashion designer. She was kind, but her attention never stayed long on the little boy, her mind was lost in fabrics and appearances. The fourth, Miranda, came from old money. She had grace and manners, but her condescending tone toward the maids made Ethan's stomach twist. And finally, Sophia, the youngest, a socialite famous for her charity galas and red carpet smiles. She was gentle, perhaps the most genuine of them all, but Ethan still didn't feel the warmth he longed for. After the dinners, the laughter, and polite gestures, Ethan retreated to his room each night, feeling emptier than before. One Saturday morning, while Alexander met investors, Ethan escaped from his tutor and wandered into the family's private cafe, a small place at the edge of the property, run by a few loyal employees. It was there he met her. Lily. She was wiping tables when he walked in, a young woman in a simple uniform, her dark hair tied messily back, a smudge of flour on her cheek. Her shoes looked worn, her hands rough from work, but her smile, warm and real, made Ethan stop. "Hey there, little man," she said cheerfully. "You're early today. Want a cookie? Fresh out of the oven." Ethan hesitated, then nodded. She handed him a chocolate chip cookie, still warm. "Don't tell the chef I stole one for you," she whispered with a wink. He giggled, the sound surprising even himself. It was the first time he'd laughed in months. Lily sat with him as he ate, asking about his favorite cartoons, his drawings, his dreams. Unlike everyone else, she didn't treat him like the billionaire's son. She just talked to him. From that day, Ethan visited the cafe often. Sometimes to draw, sometimes just to watch Lily work. She would tell him stories about her mother, who used to be a teacher before she passed away. "She always said love doesn't come from gifts," Lily told him once. "It comes from the way someone makes you feel safe." Ethan remembered those words. A week later, Alexander announced it was time to decide. He gathered the 5 women again for a grand dinner. The table glittered with gold cutlery, crystal glasses, and bouquets of white roses. But Ethan was quiet, his hands folded in his lap. "Ethan," Alexander said gently. "You've met everyone. Do you think you're ready to choose?" The women smiled, expecting their names. But Ethan's voice, small yet firm, broke the silence. "I already chose." Alexander blinked. You did? Ethan nodded. I want Lily. The room froze. Lily? Isabel frowned. Who's Lily? The waitress, Ethan said proudly. She's kind. She listens to me. She makes cookies when I'm sad. She's just like Mom. Vanessa gasped softly. Miranda scoffed. Caroline looked embarrassed. Alexander's face went pale. Ethan, she's a waitress? Ethan interrupted. So what? She's nice. Isn't that what matters? The room fell into awkward silence. The 5 women exchanged uneasy glances before excusing themselves politely, one by one. When they were gone, Alexander knelt before his son. Ethan, you don't understand. People like Lily, they live in a different world. She's not. Not rich? Ethan's eyes filled with tears. But Dad, you're rich, and you're still sad. Alexander froze. Mom wasn't rich either, right? You said she was a teacher before you got married. So why can't Lily be like her? The words hit Alexander like thunder. His mind flashed back to the days before the fortune, the small apartment, Emily's laughter as she cooked dinner, her simple joy in the little things. Somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten what love truly looked like. The next morning, he went to the cafe. Lily was wiping down tables again when she saw him standing there in his suit. Mr. King, she stammered, straightening up. Did I do something wrong? He shook his head slowly. No. You did something right. She blinked, confused. My son, Alexander continued, chose you. He said you remind him of his mother. Her eyes softened. He's a sweet boy. I didn't mean to. I know, Alexander interrupted. That's exactly why you did. There was a long pause. He looked around the small cafe, the scent of coffee and baked bread filling the air. It was warm, human, something his mansion had long forgotten. Would you join us for dinner tonight? He asked finally. Just as a friend. For Ethan. Lily hesitated, then nodded. That dinner wasn't extravagant. No silverware, no gowns, just home-cooked pasta and laughter echoing through the dining room. For the first time in years, Alexander felt something genuine, a warmth he thought was buried with Emily. Days turned into weeks. Lily continued to visit, helping Ethan with school, teaching him how to bake. Alexander began spending more time with them, leaving work early just to join their little moments. He watched Lily's kindness, her resilience, her ability to bring light into a house that had long gone cold. And slowly, without realizing it, he fell in love. Months later, at a small park overlooking the city skyline, Alexander knelt, not with a diamond worth millions, but with a simple gold ring. Lily, he said, his voice trembling, you came into our lives when we were lost. You gave Ethan his smile back, and me my heart. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Lily's face as she whispered, yes. Ethan ran into her arms, shouting, I knew you'd be my new mom. Years later, their story became one whispered in business circles and bedtime tales alike, not about wealth or status, but about the courage to choose love over luxury. Alexander King remained a billionaire, but not the kind who measured life by numbers. His mansion was still grand, but it was no longer silent. The laughter of a boy, the scent of fresh cookies, and the warmth of love filled every corner. And every time someone asked Ethan what made his dad the happiest man alive, he'd smile and say, because he finally chose love the way I did.